G'day, Dan here. So, I just wanted to check in, just had to sit down for a little bit, take a breather and get back to work, but I was just explaining to a couple of people and just re-emphasising, I suppose, and explaining to them what's happening with what I've been working on, what's coming together. And just to explain it again, just, some of these things might resonate. Some words might come out different, so I just might be repeating the same thing. Just you can skip past and go to the next video. Check out some of the others if you haven't. And one of the things in regards to, if anyone's interested and needs some mental health assistance, I've partnered up with a group that provide they've got professional practitioners, and it's also something integrated into the mindset phase of the Future You program. So the Future You program's more for an individual that it helps them think like with the end in mind, what they really want to achieve, and to look past things like material wealth and money to the inner purpose and driver. And there's a couple of tools like the Clarity tool and the 7 levels deep that sort of, if you correlate that with some of the other videos, and it's going live into the actual program in the coming days. So the early bird program, for those that are interested, will be available to test, give some feedback, be very well priced. So just get some momentum going with the initial, commercialization, if you want to call it that. But ultimately, the exponential purpose framework, some of that's integrated into the Future You, but what I realised and had some recent epiphanies, I'm talking about business, or let's just call it a project, whether it's a business orientated or creative project, business, you're still in business with creativity, doing art and music. But there's certain universal frameworks there within that framework that connect. And what I realised, regardless of what's going on with all the technology and all that jazz, AI, blah, 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 is that a community is still needed. So just to backpedal, what we're doing, I've talked about with the digital agency and how that with like the journey, for users to come through into your environment, into your world, and to actually leverage these two frameworks with proven sort of marketing and ways that, and it's not over salesy, it's literally a journey of value given and results got. And that's the win-win-win scenario for all. So what you'll be able to do, and where the Story Festival comes in, is your story, which has your skills and why you're doing what you're doing, connects to these proven frameworks. And just as a partner and affiliate, you'll be able to get involved with these and know the sort of conversion rates. You talk to this many people, you're going to have this many people join. And ultimately, for those that are sort of in between, not knowing what they're doing, looking for another opportunity, it'll be a great opportunity for you to generate a full-time income. The partners will have the lion's share of the lower priced items, which helps people get started. And don't forget, there's 2 ways in to these frameworks, and that is an assessment where they can understand, if they go through all the phases and steps, what result they're going to get. And whether it's the individual personal development pathway or whether it's the business framework where, it could be a startup. It could be an existing business. But the beautiful thing I think about the times today is if they're an existing business, they're sort of starting afresh. They might have, products and revenues and whatnot, but there's whole new models and for today's world, lots is changing. So that front end of building a community, right, around an info product that's monetized on its own independently, but also helps you build, if you're going to the next level with a business, it helps you build the result, like the framework and the results, what you're actually building around the feedback of the community and their engagement. Then you can go staff on demand sort of scenario and, leverage assets within the ecosystem and the platform that we're building, say in the academy, where there's mentors and there's people that have those sort of skill sets, either internally here or externally. We show you how to do it. And, content is king. So, having the digital agency at the front door to repurpose, parts of this content, bring people together, and again, help go along, and it's designed in that end in mind sort of scenario with the who, not the how, for you to end up getting to that result. in conjunction with sort of the tools and, you know, just how things connect, long story short. And then the other thing you've seen in my videos where it's like not all just about that material wealth. And again, there's certain things where I'm really welcoming and looking forward to conversations with governance and some of these systems for social enterprise, because I know there's some pros and cons, some benefits and negatives to it. And, you know, like playing Father Christmas and handing out money is not the best thing to do. Teach a man to fish and he fishes forever. And then also ego can sort of come into that scenario. So I've got some proposed things to sort of overcome that, where it's sort of a bit more anonymous and there's good systems in place to make sure money's going direct to these causes. And also, because it's mainly focused on project incubation around certain topics and grassroots that all communities and, you know, society will need, there's you know, government systems in place, but scholarships, I was saying, and grants to support these projects. So scholarships, grants for money for some of these mentors in the academy that I just mentioned, that can come in, give advice to that founder or that founding team with very transparent contribution systems, because your idea is worth 1%. It's worth that, you know, it's not worth 100% of shares. So when I talk about venture capital taking your business and whatnot, some of that's reasonable for you to only receive. You might get lucky and end up with 60-70% of your business with other people doing the work, but this is more of a dynamic model where your contributions, you'll continue contributing and they'll be measured just the same as everyone else. And someone might come with IP, which could, you know, be a joint venture. They might come with 50% of what you wanted to do already built, but by bringing in that 50%, it helps speed things up. And depending on what phase of the project, so there's all these metrics and whatnot. Everything in business has a metric. But yeah, long story short, agency to the academy to the marketplace of projects and jobs, which is surplus of funds with abundance, you know, impact funds. And then, you know, impact projects. You know, for me, there's a lot around property, real estate, shelter, food, music, creativity. And a lot of that stems back to a general overall category of family unit. So in the future year, you got individual, and there's also sort of in the platform a kids zone, because, you know, with everything going on, we can't just have AI and technology teaching your kid or your teachers at school teaching your kid. It's up to us still as parents to be actively involved and have a purpose and an interest in what our kids are doing, and actually have some conversations about what jobs they're going to be doing if all these things are automated, you know. So there's some quite critical decisions that need to be made right now in, you know, society. And without dwelling on negatives, it's just realism in the fact that, you know, certain things are being perpetuated and continuing forward. And you know, it's again, like, where do we focus our energy? That energy's going to go there. And yeah, we just got to have some proactive conversations, long story short. But yeah, so get ready. The Future Youth sort of framework for the early bird beta testers, not far off. Now, there's already, you know, a lot of the framework and tools there ready to go, and we'll be having probably a live room every day with those users and a sort of group coaching as you go through the online sort of stuff, just to ensure that questions are answered and whatnot. And that's usually only available to people that have paid a bit more dollars up front in a typical scenario. So yeah, myself, along with, you know, some other people where there might be questions I can't answer, I'll be doing group interviews. Individual interviews. I've already got a couple of those lined up. So hopefully this has shed a little bit more light. And again, you know, there's one or two more things out of this video that maybe weren't in the other ones, or you heard it differently, it got you at the right time or whatnot. Maybe you haven't seen these other videos. So go and check them out. There's the heaps there. But in terms of going through a bit more actionable items, there's the clarity tool. This is worth having a look at and doing. And then 7 levels deep, which is better to do with another person, which if you are actually going to do that, then I'm happy to jump on a sort of 15-20 minute call and be that sounding board, you know, because that's all it is. It's just, you know, feeding back your answer, and it's just it's better done in a conversation where you're using your intuition and not thinking analytical too much. But anyway, lots of videos coming this week, so yeah, keep an eye out for those, and I hope you're all doing very well. I'll catch you soon, y'all.